The forest held its breath, the birds fell silent, and for a moment time waited. Because a legend was about to be spoken? Yes, when Valmiki asked, does such a man of these qualities exist? Narada didn't simply answer. He unveiled a journey of righteousness, sacrifice, and divine purpose. A tale not just to be heard, but to be lived through the life of Rama. Narada said, Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavo, Ramo Nama Jane Shruta, Niyatatma Mahaviryo, Dutiman Vashi. Born in the Ikshvaku royal line, brave, righteous, and divine, crowned yet Dharma's slave, even God's watch still in grave. His wise and graceful, fierce in fight, with form both strong and fair. A calm protector Dharma's light, with love beyond compare. Like ocean deep, like mountain still, his patience vast and true. In valor Vishnu, moon and charm, Sri Ram the world looks to. And so begins the Sankshipta Ramayana, right? Yes, Tatva, the version that Narada tells in just 100 shlokas. Valmiki had no idea how much this was going to change his life. Narada Maharshi continued. Dashratha's Yagna brought forth 4. Rama his eldest virtues score. Exiled by boons with Sita and brother, he walked the forest one after another. Ravana stole Sita in broad daylight. Bali was slain to set Dharma right. Rama crossed oceans and did Ravana's reign. He shall rule long, then raise to Vaikunta again. Wow, Tatva, that was magical. True, Narada then left for Devalok, leaving Valmiki in awe and deep thought about what he had just heard. He was mesmerized by Rama's characteristics and his journey. Later, Valmiki went to the Tamasa river for his evening bath in Sandhya Vandanam. He turned to Bharadwaja, his disciple, and said, Look, how clear and calm this river is, like the heart of a noble man, his heart still on Sri Rama. As he stood there, Valmiki saw a pair of croncha birds on a nearby tree. They were in love, singing, dancing. And suddenly, an arrow pierced the male bird. The female bird wailed in agony, circling her fallen mate. Valmiki couldn't bear it. He looked at the hunter, and from deep within, a curse erupted. O hunter, for killing one of a loving pair in the grip of desire, may you never find peace or position for eternity. Wow, was that the first shloka? Yes, Tatva. Valmiki pondered. What just happened? His pain, his emotion had taken the form of a perfectly metered verse. This verse was rhythmic, with equal syllables and a musical flow. Back at the ashram, Valmiki's disciples memorized the beautifully composed verse, and seeing this, the sage was pleased. Though physically in ashram, his brain was still stuck in the verse, the birds, and the hunter. And then came the turning point. A sudden golden light filled the ashram as Brahma himself descended to meet Valmiki. Lord Brahma said, This verse was born from my will. Now write the life of Rama as you heard from Narada and as will be revealed to you through the divine grace. I grant you the boon that all that has happened will be visible to you, even what's going on in the mind. He blessed Valmiki with the ability to see all events, past, present and future. Not a word would be false. He added, As long as rivers and mountains exist, your Ramayana will be remembered. Then Brahma vanished. So that's how Ramayana was formed? Yes, not from imagination, but from divine inspiration, dhyanam, emotion, and most importantly, the truth. We have over 300 versions of Ramayana. What? 300 versions? Valmiki wrote the Ramayana in Sanskrit. Vedavyasa wrote and embedded it in the Puranas and Mahabharata. Pothana included it in the 9th chapter of Telugu Bhagavatam. Narada, Bharadwaja, Agastya each gave the world their own writings of Ramayana. These are called Arsha Ramayanas written by rishis. There were others too. Champu Ramayana written by Raja Bhoja, Raghuvamsham written by Kalidasa, etc. These works became Kavi Ramayanas, poetic retellings by scholars. And then there's Tulsidas. His Ramcharitmanas in Awadhi echoes in every temple today. Ramayana lives in every language across the world, but one version still reigns supreme, Valmiki's Ramayana, because he wasn't retelling a story, he was witnessing it. Witnessing? How? Valmiki sat on kusha grass, palms folded, heart silent, closed his eyes and the story unfolded. Through the power of his penance, Narada's words turned into vivid scenes in his mind. Rama, Lakshmana, Sita, Dashratha, his queens, the people of Ayodhya, their conversations, their laughter, even the rustle of the Dandakaranya forest. He didn't imagine it, he relived it. That's when he thought, I shall compose this epic in the same meter as the shloka I uttered. That seems like a divine vision, Bodha. And with that vision, Valmiki composed 24,000 verses in 6 kandas plus Uttarakanda. But wasn't Uttarakanda added later? Some say it wasn't even written by Valmiki. No, Tattva, that's a myth and false propaganda. Valmiki himself confirms it. Chaturvimsha Sahasrani Shloka Namuktavan Rishi Tata Sarga Shatan Pancha Shat Kandani Tatottaram. That means 24,000 verses with 6 kandas and Uttarakanda. And here's the marvel. The first letter of every 1000th shloka in Ramayana forms the Gayatri Mantra. 24 syllables, 24,000 verses. Only possible if he wrote it all including the Uttarakanda. So the Shambhuka episode, Sita's departure, they were all the part of his truth? Yes, accepting them doesn't tarnish Rama's glory. Denying them questions his dharma. We need to know a lot before judging him. Valmiki wrote everything, not to flatter, but to reveal. He only wrote truth, as was Brahmadev's boon. This was not just the journey of Rama. It was also about the fall of Paulastya, Ravana himself. The story of how a human could eliminate a near immortal demon. A story not crafted, but witnessed, word by word. Yes, and that's what makes it eternal. In the next episode, let's learn who is King Dasharatha. Who was the great sage whose mere foot on the land could stop famine? Do we still have his presence or aura on this land? Why was he so important to King Dasharatha? Keep watching Sampurna Ramayana with Bodha Hoots to know more. Jai Siya Ram.